everyone, welcome to my weekly edition of Show Me How It's Done. My name is Lauren Urbonis and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Now every Tuesday at noon I like to pop a little video into my YouTube channel, Lauren Scraplot, so that you have some crafty inspiration. I do hope that you have subscribed to my channel and that you click that like button if you're enjoying the videos that you're watching. It really helps me to see what you're interested in and what I should do more of for you. So go back, check out the archive because we are almost nearing my little hump of 200 videos in this series. I think I'm at about 190 or something right now, but I'm excited. It's getting there. For this week, I want to play with a bundle that you may have missed because it's part of our online exclusive selection. Now, Stampin' Up! Does come out with catalogs for our whole year, as well as for the holiday season and the spring season. That's probably what we're most familiar with, is a nice paper copy of all of the products that Stampin' Up! Owns and distributes. But if you are new to Stampin' Up!, you may not know that they have also introduced something called online exclusives. Now, these items are not tied to any specific catalog, so that Stampin' Up! Can gauge how popular they are. And for those who are, very well sought after, they are able to simply reorder the product instead of discontinuing it if it goes before a catalog has ended. So it's a nice little thing they're trying out for us. If you are interested in seeing the newest selections and the most up-to-date lists of those online exclusives, you can go to my website. It's at the bottom of the page, laurenurbonus.stampinup.net. The items on there are the easiest to find. If you just go to the search box at the top, type in online exclusives, and you'll be guided to our whole selection of kits, stamps, papers, embellishments, all of the products that are not in print anywhere else but can be found online. Those, of course, can be added to any order in combination with things that are orderable from the catalogs too. And if you get stuck, please reach out. I'm more than happy to give you a hand. Those items can be shipped anywhere in Canada through me, or if you need help finding a demonstrator in your country, also we can get you set up with that too. So let's get busy. If you'd like to craft along with me, I will give you all the measurements. They're also listed in the description on this video, as well as the supplies, so you can easily refer back to that, or you can click pause if I have something prepped in this video that you need to go and do, which there are quite a few stages that I have things pre-prepped because I just like to keep the video flowing for you, and then you don't need to get dizzy watching me do everything all the time. So we're going to play with Magnolia Mood. This guy is a bundle that's available on the online exclusives, and as I mentioned, you can purchase just the stamp or just the dies, or you can get them together for a discounted price of 10% off the bundle. Now, I will tell you that the sentiment I'm using on my card today, All the Love, it is from the Citrus Blooms bundle. Maybe I have it here. Yes, here we go. It's from Citrus Blooms because I needed something that was kind of wedding-ish and could work for that occasion for me. So I chose All the Love, but Happy Birthday would fit perfectly in this little square rectangle as well, if you'd like to stick with just using the stamps that I'm showing you. Okay, I'm going to move this and we're going to get busy. So for your card base, we are going to cut a piece of basic white cardstock. It's slightly smaller than a normal card because I kind of liked how this looked just in a little smaller version. So this is 4 inches by 11, and I've scored at 5.5 in the middle of the piece. So that when you fold this in half, you have a 4 by 5.5 piece. Usually our cards are about 4 1/4. That's the only difference, is a 1/4 inch, but I just liked that subtle inch. Now for this popped up layer here, this white one, you're going to need another piece of white. So go ahead and cut that right now. You're going to cut that at 3 5/8 by 5 1/8. 3 5/8 by 5 1/8. Now, this one's a little fun. So the dies that I used for the frame itself and even for the embossing are not part of this suite. I wanted a frame of some sort, so I went to my shelf and I, tried to see what I had. So I came up with this Everyday Details bundle. The stamp set and the dies can be used together, or you can just buy them individually. This die, this largest rectangle one here, this is what I chose to use. Okay, so I took this die, I popped it in the middle of that white rectangle of space, and out popped this piece, as well as actually a center rectangle that also has stitching on it. Do you see the stitching showing up there? So that scrap of white, that nice extra frame, I can use for the future. I can use it on a different project, and I haven't quite decided what I'm going to use it for yet. So I'm going to interchange these. Once I've die cut, that's what I have. So you might not own these frames. Maybe you have one of our old layering rectangles. Maybe you have the new kind of like ripped, what are they called? I'm drawing a blank, but we have kind of a ripped look of a rectangle. Those would work well as an alternative. Okay, you don't have to have these ones, but I do really love them. The Everyday Details, that's what you're looking for. There's circles and rectangles that are nicely dotted for you. Now, taking this one step further, I am going to also add an embossing folder to the mix. So I've grabbed my layered 3D Florals embossing folder. I'm going to toss this on the inside, and then I'm going to run that through my embossing machine, and through the magic of camera work, no, it was just I had it ready. We have one piece that is pre-embossed. Okay, so you're not seeing most of the flowers, you're just trying to line the frame up to some big flowers, something that you want to see showing through, something that will look really nice on your card. Okay, and then you do need to cut one more thing here for me, and that's a piece of designer series paper. This is going to be 3 by 4.5. So 3 inches by 4.5. I took this piece from another online exclusive package. It's called Simply Zinnia's. There's a designer series paper, there are embellishments, and a full bundle with gorgeous zinnia flowers. And I just really like the subtlety of this kind of polka dotted piece of cardstock. So I'm going to move this down so you can see what I'm doing. And we're starting with our designer series paper right in the middle of this white workspace. So anything that you have on hand to attach it is great. You can use seal, tape, or glue. If you watch my videos often, you will just know that I love my tape. It's kind of become second nature to me. But ever since I started having my nails done, I do have to use my take your pick tool to get the backings off. But I still love it. All right, here we go. Nice and centered as much as possible. It doesn't matter if it's exactly perfect because we're coming over top now with our frame. Now I like the frame popped up. You don't have to, but I do think it looks better. So we're gonna grab ourselves a few dimensionals. You can choose which side of the frame you want to show. And we're gonna start adding those around the perimeter. Now, sometimes we can be stingy or conservative with our dimensionals. On a frame that's nice and skinny like this, you're going to want to be generous. Put dimensionals all the way around the perimeter so that none of those pieces end up kind of just looking floppy or cave in. You don't want that on your card. Okay? Mini dimensionals are great, but they take a long time to get the backings off. 1 and 1. There we go. Okay, this needs to be centered as much as possible here, so it should have a border of white all the way around. Just trying to do this in my camera view. There There we go. And that should go right over top of your designer series paper, kind of hiding anything that looked really crooked or off. Now here's my favorite part, and that is going to be cutting out this stunning Magnolia flower. Look how detailed it is. I'm going to just set it down and let you look for a second. You might need to take your pair of scissors or take your pick tool and poke some of those finer details out, but I promise you it's worth it. It's so delicate and it's stunning. If you want to make like a wedding card or something really fancy, cutting this out in glitter, silver, gold, white, will just look stunning. So that's a little extra tip if you want to go over the top with this card. But I just wanted this for a like a bridal shower kind of feel. So I'm going to pop dimensionals on the back of my flower. I don't need to worry about anything on those petals. They're going to be fine. We're just going to add a couple dimensionals in the fat parts of our little flower here. That will be more than enough to stick the flower to the card. Again, please don't worry that you're gonna probably have to press pause and cut these things. I just happen to have them ready to go. This guy's going in the bottom right-hand section of my project, right there. And then I'm gonna work on my tag before adding any more details, okay? So if you've got a scrap paper, I would suggest grabbing that right now. I think I need to steal one from my recycle bin. There we go. Scrap paper is what we're going to want to use because we're going to add a little bit of messy flower stamping in the back. This little stitched shape is from my, where did you go? Just check. Are you from this? Yes, from that set as well. Here, this guy right in the middle. So those everyday details, stitch dies, I stole the sentiment for as well. I am using Misty Moonlight just because it matches my beautiful cardstock color. And I've mounted the smallest of the flowers. And I'm going to add a bit of stamping to the back of my project. Doesn't have to be in any specific order. You're just adding a couple flowers to the background of your project, and those will lighten. You can see already this one's been sitting for quite a few days. So those flowers, the ink dries and sets. So you don't need to stress. If you're really worried, you could always stamp off and then add more color in a different tone later on. Okay, completely up to you. For the embossing part of this, because we've stamped ink on it, you're going to want to make sure to use your little embossing buddy, this little pouch full of kind of this fine white powder. Rub it all over before stamping your sentiment in Versamark. We don't want any embossing powder sticking to those flowers. We just want it sticking to your sentiment. So we've got our nice sticky Versamark ink. I've got that sentiment that I mentioned was from Citrus Blooms, but you can use Happy Birthday. And I want my flowers facing upwards. We're going to stamp that right in the middle. You can't see it at all, but when I grab my embossing powder and my little beautiful tray to pour it all in, you should be able to see it on here. Okay, I'm very generous. I just pour it all in there and I'll clean up later. So there's my sentiment, all the love. Now I'm going to take this over to my heat tool and heat it. You won't be able to hear me while I'm doing that because the microphone won't really work, but we'll see our powder change from this kind of dull, like plain look to something that's very shiny and vibrant, kind of catches the light. So I'm going to grab my heat tool. I'm really wishing I didn't because it is the middle of summer, but oh well, we'll heat it up anyways. All right. Sorry, I didn't have that one ready. Okay, there we go. Okay, hopefully you were able to see it change a little bit. It went from that dull color to something nice and bright for us. It might still be a little wet, so I always like to set it down on my desk for just a couple seconds so that I don't touch it and smear the embossing powder. So in that time, clean up your powder, because the worst thing you can do, besides landing in red ink, is spill your embossing powder. You'll be very sad. Tighten that lid, and let's keep going. Okay, this guy should be ready to go. We're going to add it to the bottom left of our project. Now I like to use my edge pieces from my dimensionals here, because I can get a nice fat chunk of dimensional and just set it down along the bottom of the frame in maybe 2 different sections. Put it down here, then we're going to put the tag on top. And I just lined that tag up to the bottom left-hand side. Now, I think this looks really pretty, but I thought it was missing something, so I went into my Magnolia dies and I just cut one more branch. So this was enough to add one final detail for me. I'm going to use a glue dot. You can use a dot of glue, whatever your preference is. I'm going to add that just behind the tag here, kind of tucked in. There we go. There you are. And there is your card. Very, very clean and elegant. You can use whatever color combinations you want to, but it's a really easy way to use those dies and not have to add much finicky work to it. You don't even have to emboss the frame. It still looks pretty without embossing. So I hope you guys enjoyed this week's video. Please tune in next week, because of course I'll have another tutorial for you. I hope you're enjoying your summer and having a great time. And just remember, these are recordings. You can watch them anytime. You don't have to tune in right on Tuesdays, but if you do, there will always be a new video Tuesdays at noon for you. Take care. Bye.